Kai is a single man living in the Northern California suburbs where darkness falls at 7 p.m. and retreats later than anywhere else in winter. His small cabin sits at the end of a tree-lined driveway where cell phone reception is weak and streetlights seem to have never been installed. For many, it's isolation, but for Kai, it's tranquility. He is a software engineer who has left the hustle and bustle of city life for the quiet of the mountains. Every morning he makes coffee, opens the window to hear the wind through the pine trees, and immerses himself in his work from his second-floor office. The house is not large, just a ground floor, a mezzanine, and an attic for storage. No one lives with Kai, and because of that he is always aware of every sound. From the heater turning on to the wind creaking the old glass door. That night was Saturday. Kai was sleeping as usual. Moonlight filtered through the curtains, casting pale shadows on the wooden floor. The digital alarm clock on the nightstand read 3:12 a.m. Then he heard it, a melody. Kai opened his eyes. He didn't jump right away. He thought he was dreaming. It was a woman's voice, humming, soft, far away, as if coming from the living room downstairs. The melody was indistinct but sad and drawn out a slow, old rhythm, like someone lulling a child to sleep but with a wrong tone. Off-key, broken. He sat up, his back cold. The clock read 3:17 a.m. At that moment, a strange feeling crept into Kai's chest, not fear exactly, but a refusal by his mind to believe that it was actually happening. He lives alone. There is no smart speaker in the house, no radio, no TV, and most importantly, he doesn't turn on any of the devices. Kai strained his ears to listen. Quiet. Already. Ring again. The song started again. Not from the speakers, not from the phone. It breathed. It felt. It was alive. The voice came from the stairs leading down to the ground floor, from the kitchen or the living room. Kai tried to analyze it in his head. Could it be someone standing outside? But the voice wasn't coming from the window. It was inside. His mind began to fail. He got out of bed, his bare feet hitting the cold wooden floor. The house was so quiet Kai could hear his heart pounding in his chest. He had no weapon in his hand, his phone in his hand, no signal. He walked slowly toward the stairs. Each step seemed to lengthen the pounding in his head. Then the voice stopped. Kai stood still, not moving. He felt something waiting for him below. There is a concept that is often mentioned in spiritual posts on Reddit, called time slip zones, where phenomena from the past repeat, but not as a ghost, but as a recording from another space. Many people have reported hearing voices, crying, even old music, but cannot identify the source. Maybe what Kai heard was a memory, or worse, a surviving entity from that memory. He continued walking down. The downstairs was dark. The lights were off. The living room was dim. Moonlight filtered through the curtains, illuminating the sofa, the walls, and the old piano in the corner, something he'd bought at a garage sale last year. Kai didn't play, but he thought it made the room feel warmer. And then his heart stopped beating. A piano key automatically rang out. A single note. No hands, no people, but the sound was there, unmistakable. Kai walked slowly towards the piano. Nothing. He exhaled. It felt like he had fallen into another reality. But the next second, he froze. On the dusty layer of the piano lid there was a faint, small handprint that looked like a woman's. Kai's hand shook. He had never seen this mark before. He lived alone, living alone. That statement begins to contradict reality. He ran upstairs, locked all the doors, called the police. Still no signal. After that, Kai sat motionless on the bed until morning. The next day he told the story to his neighbor, Mr. Walter, who lived across the street, an old veteran. He was thoughtful, neither smiling nor suspicious. Just say, "My son lived in that house. Before you. He died in 2007. He dreamed. He heard his mother singing, but she died many years ago. You know what I mean." Kai couldn't answer. But from that day on, he knew this house was more than just wooden bricks. It remembers. It echoed. And Kai is living with the memories of someone or something that was there before him. That night, Kai did not sleep. He sat in his office, his computer on, but not typing a word. His senses were on edge. The darkness outside the window was so thick it felt as if the forest itself were holding its breath. He checked every door, every lock, and placed a chair in front of the main door. The image of the small hand on the piano kept playing in his mind, like an elaborate trap, delicate, vague, but full of weight. Around 1 a.m., he was browsing Reddit, the subreddit Ajar Ghosts and Bijar Paranormal. He typed, "Hearing woman's voice singing inside my house at 3 a.m. Piano played by itself." A user with the nickname Lurker of the Attic commented, "You may be experiencing a phenomenon called residual haunting, a form of psychic memory stuck in space. It doesn't interact, doesn't know you're there, just repeats a certain behavior like singing, crying, walking. But if the fingerprint appears later, it may no longer be residual. It's intelligent haunting, conscious. It knows you. It wants you to see it." The last line sent a chill down Kai's spine. He didn't know whether he wanted to believe it or deny it. But one thing was certain: what he was experiencing was no longer in the realm of imagination. It was a series of intentional signs. 3 a.m. Kai sat motionless, his eyes glued to the security cameras he had hurriedly purchased that afternoon. He had placed one opposite the piano, one in the kitchen, and one in the hallway upstairs. Everything was quiet until the porch sensor light came on. Kai held his breath. The image from the outside camera was blurry. Wind, no trees moving, no apparent movement. Then from inside the house a sound rang out. This time, no singing. It was a rattling sound, like someone was opening a cupboard. Kai stood up, taking the kitchen knife. He walked down the stairs slowly, not daring to breathe heavily. The kitchen light was on. No one in the kitchen, no sound. But the cupboard was wide open. Kai doesn't remember opening it. Inside, the dishes were all in disarray. A glass fell to the floor unbroken, as if someone had set it down hard and walked away. Then a piece of white paper lay at the foot of the cupboard. Not his. Not a notebook. A diary page. The paper was stained. The handwriting was crooked. 3:17 a.m. "I'm still singing, Mom." "Oh, you said if I sing, you'll come back." "Mom, are you listening?" Kai's heart was pounding. A child who lived here, singing for his mother. The voice he heard was from child, not from his mother. He took the paper and stepped back, his hands shaking. Then the clock on the wall rang. Kai had never heard it ring before. Just a click sound, then silence. He ran upstairs and locked the door. The next morning, Kai decided to go find the property records. He went to the town hall where the old houses were still recorded on paper. Records show the house once belonged to a woman named Joanne Carter, who died in 2005, the mother. She had a daughter, Eva Carter, who disappeared without a trace in 2007 at the age of 10. Kai turned to the last page. There was a note: "Daughter often sings at night, suffers from cataphrenia, haunted by her dead mother. Wakes up every night at 3:17 and sings downstairs." Kai felt like someone had just slapped him in the chest. 3:17. It was the number that appeared every time he woke up to the sound of singing. And that girl had done the same thing in this very house. On Reddit, someone shared the phenomenon of the 3:17 curse, where the clock stops at exactly 3:17 a.m. after experiencing sleep paralysis, hearing singing voices, or seeing white figures standing at the foot of the bed. These cases are all unexplained by science, and especially many people share the same wordless melody that they cannot describe, like a song sent from somewhere not belonging to this world. Kai began to panic. He had entered a loop with no way out. The house wasn't where he lived. It was where something was waiting for him to return. Tuesday night, Kai decided not to hide anymore. He dimmed the lights, turned on all the cameras, and set up the microphone to record. 300 a.m. Nothing happened. 3:12. Slight screen noise. 3:15. The hallway camera starts shaking. The image distorts, then clears. A small figure appeared at the foot of the stairs, not moving, just standing there. A short figure, long hair, wearing a white nightgown. Face unclear. Already, the voice rang out. Not from the camera, not from the speaker, from behind Kai. He turned back. The room was empty. The song continues, echoing in the ear like the sound of water flowing upstream, soft but choked. Then a whisper sounded from within his left ear. You heard that right. He turned back to the screen. The girl disappeared. Kai could no longer tell what was real and what was an illusion, but the devices didn't lie. The cameras recorded, the sounds recorded. And then, an audio file played back revealing a voice that wasn't in the adult frequency range. It was the voice of a girl about 9-11 years old. He printed the sound wave. There's a snippet. That's exactly the same as an old recording a Reddit user shared in 2019. They lived in another state, but recorded the exact same song, also at 3:17 a.m. What a huge coincidence. Kai didn't know whether to be scared or heartbroken. That little girl is still singing, still waiting. And now, he was the only one who could hear her. Kai didn't leave the house for 3 days. He didn't eat much. He didn't sleep deeply. He just kept going over and over the recordings, photos, and diary entries he found. The deeper he dug, the more he found himself drawn into a spiritual spiral where everything came back to the beginning. 3:17 a.m., the singing and the nameless girl, or rather, Eva. But there was one thing he couldn't ignore: the attic. Kai had never been in there. The door to the attic was in a second-floor storage room sealed with paint and several layers of old wood. That evening, as the light faded, Kai grabbed a flashlight, a crowbar, and a dagger. His hands shook as he picked the lock. The wood creaked as if it had been left untouched for years. When the small door swung open, a cold air rushed out, not like wind, but like a gas sealed for a long time. He shone the light inside. Musty, old paint, and something like a burnt candle. The attic wasn't big. High enough to stand upright, wide enough for a mattress and a few cardboard boxes. But the first thing he saw was the wall. A white wall is smeared with children's crayons, hand-drawn. A child drew circles, intricate, layered each with a name scrawled on it. One of them read, Mommy, another Eva. And in the middle, a larger circle, scrawled with the words, Way Back. Kai stepped forward, his hand lightly touching the wall. It was cold, not like a normal brick wall. Beneath it lay an old dirty mattress with a dark red stain. Beside it lay a headless rag doll. He felt suffocated. Inside one of the boxes, he found an old school notebook. The first page read, Eva Carter, 4th grade. In the middle of the notebook, in shaky red ink, was written, I heard your voice in the wall. You told me not to go out. You said I had to sing so you could find me. Kai closed the book. There was no mistaking it. Eva had been locked in the attic. Maybe not because she was lost. Maybe someone had held her captive. Or maybe she had stayed there herself, waiting for her mother. Kai backed away, sitting down on the wooden floor. His mind was spinning. A disappearance, an old house, a child writing a diary with his dead mother. Circles, singing. All of this doesn't seem to be a coincidence. 3:17 that morning. Not the singing voice, but it was a whisper. Right next to the right ear. Don't close the door. It's cold. Kai woke with a start, sitting bolt upright. The room was dark. No music, no movement. But he knew the atmosphere had changed. No longer a sound from the past. Now is the presence. He stepped out into the hallway. The closet door was open. The attic door, which he was sure had been closed, was now ajar. And up there in the darkness he saw a pair of small eyes. Not fierce, not angry, but cold eyes looking at him from above. Kai stood still. His instincts told him not to move forward, but his reason pushed him forward. He walked up the stairs, flashlight clutched in his hand. But when he got there was no one there, except a small mirror lay on the mattress. It did not reflect him. It reflected another scene. In the mirror, he saw another room with white walls, floral curtains, a half-burnt candle, and a little girl with long hair sitting with her back turned singing. The melody was choked, soft but painful. Kai backed away, dropping the flashlight. The mirror shattered. But before the glass fell, he heard one sentence from the little girl's own mouth. "If you leave, I won't be able to find Mom anymore." The next morning, Kai called a paranormal investigator he found on Reddit who goes by the username BAIMFMediumME. She arrived in the afternoon, bringing with her an EMF meter, an infrared camera, and some strange items like salt powder, red thread, and a convex mirror. After a round of checking, she looked at him, her face serious. "The energy here isn't just a ghost. It's an emotional loop, a resonance trap. She can't leave because the emotions are too strong, and you're slowly being synchronized into that wave. You felt yourself being pulled up at exactly 3:17. That's the wave overlap. If you don't break it, you'll be the next one stuck here." Kai asked, "What should I do?" Amy was silent, then pointed to the attic. "You have to take her down. Take the memory down. Take the truth down." Kai didn't understand everything, but he did know one thing: the girl didn't want to stay there. But something, or someone, made her stay, and if he didn't act, she would never get out. Amy prepared a simple ritual. No drums or gongs, no chanting. Just a red thread, a small convex mirror, and a recording of Kai's singing from the first night. "We don't banish her," Amy said, her eyes never leaving Kai's face. "We call, we lead, and we listen." Kai nodded. The room was cleared. They sat in the living room, in front of the old piano. Amy had placed a mirror on the piano lid, red thread forming a circle around them. In the center was Eva's diary. 3:09 a.m. Amy turned on the recording. The familiar melody rang out this time, not from downstairs or the walls, but from the tiny speaker in front of them. Then, off. Not a sound, no wind, no rattle, no footsteps, until the mirror vibrates slightly. From the glass, steam began to fade, as if someone were breathing behind it. Amy whispered, "Eva, are you there?" No response. There was just a knock. 3. Kai shivered. Amy continued, "Do you want to say anything to Kai? Do you want to leave this place? This time?" The mirror cracked. From the crack, a black shadow curled like smoke. For a few seconds it took shape, not clearly, but enough to see a girl with long hair, wearing a white dress, standing behind the sofa. Her face was covered in shadow. Amy did not turn back. She just reached out to take Kai's hand and whispered, "The little girl is not the problem." Kai turned his head. A second figure, larger, standing behind Eva. A bony hand rested on her shoulder. "What the hell?" Kai stepped back, his heart pounding. Amy frowned. She wasn't surprised. "It's the Memory Keeper, a spirit form that inhabits spaces where emotions are too strong, usually grief, regret, or guilt. It doesn't harm people, but it doesn't want anyone to leave. It feeds on repetition." Kai paused. "Repeat, singing every night. Time 3:17. Haunting presence in the attic. It's all an endless ritual which Eva, or her memory, is being forced to reenact, to feed the entity." Kai couldn't stand by and watch. He stepped out of the salt circle. "Go to the broken mirror," voice trembling. "Eva, I hear you. I see you. You don't have to sing anymore. You don't have to wait anymore." The girl remained silent. Her face was hidden in shadow, but her hand lifted slightly as if touching something invisible. Amy whispered from behind Kai, "If you really want to free her, you have to open the loop. You have to complete what she never completed." Kai thought. "Complete the song," he exclaimed. "The little girl never got to sing it all." He sat down at the piano. His hands touched the keys. He had never played a piano before, but the melody was clear in his head. He started playing, shaky off beat, but the melody flowed. With each note, the girl's shadow drew closer. The mirror began to crackle with light. From Kai's mouth, a voice came, not his own, but a strange part of memory, singing the unfinished verse. As the final note rang out, the room shook slightly. The glass doors swung open despite the lack of wind. The lights went out, and in that moment, Ava smiled. A light as soft as mist radiated from the little girl. The shadow behind her let out a terrifying screech like muffled wind. Then it vanished. Ava stepped back. The light washed over her, like vapor rising from a still lake. She disappeared. No sound, no pain. There was only dim light and silence. For the first time in many nights, the clock still jumped past 3:17. The next morning, Kai moved out. He didn't pack. He didn't leave a message to the neighbors. He just left the keys in the mailbox, then drove off the long dirt road onto the highway where the early morning sun caught the layers of frost on the windshield. No singing, no more shadows behind the curtains. Just another silence. No longer oppressive, but the final silence of someone finally at rest. Kai drove the radio off. His mind was still drifting between reality and fantasy, life and death. But there was a distinct feeling in his chest as if something had been undone. A button had been released. He stopped in front of a small roadside cafe. When he sat down, he turned on his phone where the signal had dropped off just when he needed it the night before. Now it had full signal. He opened Reddit. He went back to the old topic he had commented on. He wrote a paragraph. I once lived in a place where there was singing at 3:17 in the morning. I don't know whether to call it a ghost, a memory, or what. But I saw a little girl, not a hallucination, not a dream. She wasn't dangerous. She was just stuck, like a page turned and forgotten. I don't think I'm special. It's just the right person at the right time. But if you're hearing a song, a call, or seeing something repeated, don't just ask, what is it? Ask, what is it trying to tell me? There are places that don't need to be liberated. They just need to be understood and remembered. He posted, didn't wait for anyone to reply. A few weeks later, Kai's house was put back up for sale. A young couple from out of state came to see it. They liked the quiet, the wooden houses with stories. They didn't believe in ghosts. They found the attic old, but strangely cozy. And that first night there, the young girl woke up at 3:17 a.m., not because of a nightmare, but because she heard someone singing. She sat up and smiled. I know this song. No fear, no panic. Just a connection. Maybe after all, singing is more than just a cry for help. Maybe it's a door opened from the incomplete things, so that someone somewhere knows that they have never been forgotten. Kai never returned to that house. But every time the clock strikes 3:17, he still wakes up sometimes. Not out of fear, but out of longing. And he wondered, how many houses, how many rooms still hold unsung songs? How many souls, without needing to be banished, would simply need someone to sit down and listen to the end of the song? How many people, like me, thought they lived alone? Kai knows he is not alone. And he also knows sometimes the scariest thing is not being haunted. But no one hears your voice forever.